Hi, everybody, and welcome to It's Okay to Be Okay. I'm Jen. I'm here with Melissa and Chrystal, and we really didn't know what we were going to talk about, um, but we're thinking maybe playing it safe, how sometimes we play it safe because we think it's the right thing to do. We like where we're at. We're in a decent spot. It could be better, but we have a tendency to play it safe and keep ourselves kind of in the same spot, afraid to move forward because maybe because we like where we're at and going forward is unknown.
We can all relate to that, right? Go on, Jen.
Well, I was just thinking like a year ago, I worked in a warehouse. Never thought I would move forward. There was that fear because I was making enough money to keep the roof over our heads. It was a safe job. But when I really listened, I knew it wasn't where I wanted to be. And I took a huge chance when I quit that job. And, it did put us behind a little bit. But now I'm at my new job and it's meaningful and it has purpose and I'm doing what I want to do and everything else is working out because I didn't play it safe. I took the chance and I opened myself up to what the universe could offer me, to what doors could possibly open. And then I became willing to walk through it when I found one. And
So
had I,
question, sorry,
yes,
Jen, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this might be helpful for people willing to walk through it though without resistance of any sort.
that's
Th-
hard.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
So I don't know, I thought that might be something worth exploring there for a second. Because yeah, doors open all the time and we ignore them. We don't turn around to look at them. We pretend they're not there. We're like, that's not my door. So I thought, maybe for our listeners exploring that little bit of resistance that can come in and why it comes in. I mean, we all know why, but I thought it'd be worth talking about for just a second. And I can
Yeah,
keep going. Or,
go on, Crystal. Keep going.
Yeah, keep
I
going.
mean, I know it is, you've already said it's fear. It's the fear of the unknown. That is one reason. The other one is the comfortableness of just staying where you are. Again, leading to the unknown, but you know where you're at and this version of yourself and you're okay with it,
Mhm.
but you don't know when you walk through that door, it's up in the air. And then that's just that false sense of control once again that we run into thinking that staying right where we are, that's going to control everything and life is going to be just the way it's supposed to be. And we all know that's not true. So I was just curious, in your experience, was there any resistance walking through that new door?
There was for me. Like when I quit my job, it took me years. I was miserable for years. I knew I didn't want to do that anymore, but I was fucking terrified. And it paralyzed me. I would come home crying and whinging and moaning about my job and I don't want to do this anymore. You know, and Dave would say, quit then. And I couldn't. It was like, I can't. I need the money. It, these were the excuses that were coming up. Like, it's all I've known. I'm not good at anything else. I can't leave my dad because then, I'll screw the company up. I'll ruin the company if I leave. He could easily have got someone else in. All of this shit that was coming up, and it was stopping me from actually going forward because I was scared. Because I had no idea what it looked like. And because I've done that since I was like 16, 17, I had nothing else to compare it to. And I was seeing all these people starting to go out and do what they loved, and I was jealous as fuck of them. and yet I still couldn't move. So yeah, that fear is real. And when the thing is, we have an identity that we kind of live by, and when we want change, that identity has to die. That identity doesn't want to die,
Mhm.
and that's where the resistance comes in. We feel it. It's physical.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And like, I have resistance. I mean, I've always worked in factories or in customer service, not like a desk job, not and so the transition for me was, and then it was, well, who the hell am I? That imposter syndrome. And then questioning myself, has my transformation, is it really real? Or am I making it more than, you know? And so I look for, am I bullshitting myself or is this real? But the lack of constant suffering and spiraling is proof that it's real. And then, I go to work and I work with people and they start to see, and that's more proof that I'm not bullshitting, if that makes sense.
Oh my god, that makes perfect sense. The amount of times I'm like, "Has my transformation even that amazing?" Like, what you just said there, like, oh my god, that hit me because I thought the same with mine. Like, everything that I've gone through, I'm like, "Yeah, but is it enough? Have I struggled enough? Do I still need to struggle more to prove myself that I've struggled enough to help people?" And it's like, how fucked up is that?
Right. Well, in mine is, have I seen enough? Have I
Mhm.
seen enough to be able to share this? Have I seen enough to be able to help people transform their lives? Have I seen enough to share in a way that it connects to other people and they can see beyond my words to what I'm pointing to? When you get that confirmation, not from people, but from other people's actual, oh, I was so always worried and always in my head and stressing and anxious. And now I don't do that. Now, what do I do with all this free time? I never realized how much time I had. You know, when other people experience the same kinds of things, it's like maybe I have seen enough. Maybe it's touched me deep enough that I'm sharing it in a way that's understandable because I wasn't sure, you know? I've been at this new job 5 months and I still have resistance in some areas and some, but when I fall out of that, when I recognize that that is my old identities still trying to hold on, and I'm not that person anymore. I still want to, oh, but I'm just an ex-drug addict. I'm just a criminal. I'm just you know, all of these labels and identities that had kept me down here. I still sometimes they still creep up sometimes and be like, "Well, why are you up here? Because you're just this, this, and this." I was those things. And those identities aren't fully dead, but they've integrated, and I think that's the biggest thing to realize is transforming and moving forward, going through that door isn't killing off those identities. It's bringing them past the wound instead of keeping the the old hurts and the old stories and the this happened to me and this is why I am the way I am. That's keeping the wound open because we built an identity in that. the healing is losing that identity, but you're not losing it.
You
You're
mean like
just
you're bringing the wisdom of it with you?
yes, yes. It gets to integrate. It just is no longer the whole horizon. It's a hilltop in the landscape of the horizon, if that makes sense.
I think I know where you're going with that. Doing a post today about the insight and about like what Sydney Banks says about if people just realized, I'm going to butcher this, but something like if people just stop being scared of their emotions, the world will change overnight. And because I had an insight yesterday on the way we went hiking, me and Dave. So we want to hike for ages because I love hiking. Like it just fills my soul. Absolutely love it. And we keep looking at these hiking things. And I sent another one to Dave the other week, and he was like, "Do you know what? Let's just go on Saturday. Let's just go and do it." I was like, "Yes, let's go." And on the way there, I look over at the petrol gauge, and it was full. I look back in the seat, and Dave had done the lunches, and I got like this fucking just hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like you feel safe. And I realized that one of my lessons right now, like the last couple of years, has been receiving, allowing, letting in, letting Dave care for me, letting Dave be the provider without shame and guilt. And instantly I saw in that insight, like why I had to go through that. Like when we can let in, when we can receive, we open up, we become softer, we become more playful. And no amount of therapy sessions or being a coach or anything would have been able to give me that in that 1 second insight. I wanted to talk more about the insight because we talk about insights, but we don't really tell people like what it is, why it's so important, and why we stay in this direction of the three principles and, you know, talking about this because any conversation can create an insight. And you may not have it straight away. You may be on a call with us, or you may have your own coach and three principles, and the insight's not going to come when you want it to come. Yeah, I kind of rambled on there a bit.
I like where you were going though, because you're right. We don't really, we talk about insights, but we don't really talk about, I don't know, for lack of a better word, the importance of seeing for yourself, the importance of that insight and where it can lead. And yeah, I mean, they can happen in a flash, they can happen gradually. But they do happen in a flash, no matter what. No matter what, whether it's a just a little ooh, okay, or a big oh, they both happen so quickly. But we don't really talk about why is it important? Why does that? W- Why do we stay around the principles? I mean, why do we show up to conversations and why do we get on calls with our teacher when we're all certified in his course? Why do we do those things? Because there's a truth, because it is truth, because these things talk directly to our soul. It's truth speaking to truth. And when you hear truth, it is really difficult to turn your back on it and deny it. And I know, though, I know that it's a common occurrence for people when they come to the principles. We've always been in the principles, but when you have your realization or your insight or whatever, it's a really common thing for a lot of people to be like, mm-mm, nope, I'm going to walk away from this. I think, Melissa, were you like that? Did
Yep.
you walk away for a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, because I
That's a
had
really,
a massive insight. It wasn't even an insight. It was just I'm literally going to do a post about this as well today. So I remember where I was. I was driving my car. I was going towards the next town. going down this hill, and then as I was coming up, I literally just got hit by this, all I can call it is divine love. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm even getting emotional now thinking about it because it was so powerful. And I just cried my eyes out in the car. I was like, what the fuck is this? Thinking, whoa. And I thought, this is too intense. And I was trying to shake it off, trying to push it away. But it was just this feeling of pure, what's the word? Like pure love. It was not this of this world love. And that scared the fucking shit out of me. And that's when I went back to belief coding. But when I went back, I couldn't do it anymore. No matter how much I tried to resist it, no matter how much I tried to like push it away, like I couldn't. I was changed at some level just from that, and it was only a 1 second kind of, whew, but it felt like it was like hours.
Yeah, I love that.
I had backed away a little bit. Never fully turned my back on it, but it scared me. The quiet. I wasn't used to it. I didn't know what to do with it. So I stayed in that in between for a while because I was afraid to fully cross the line.
Yeah. But I think once you've had one, it keeps you in the direction no matter how much you forget. Like I forget all the time, especially when it comes to money and business. I get dragged into the thinking and the thought storms. But I know what it feels like to have that insight. I know that it can change your life in a second. My relationships have completely transformed from 2 insights. So I know the power of insight, and that I think where people get stuck is we try to chase it, we try to make it happen, and that just ain't gonna happen.
No. No, but it's funny how if you keep looking in this direction, if you stay in the conversation, you don't even realize the change. You don't even realize your edges smoothing. You don't even realize how much it's making a difference until something happens and it makes you realize, oh, and then you're like, oh, damn it, it does work. I remember thinking that. Damn it, it must be working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking, and I know exactly what you're saying there, Jen. It's like your first little, like, even though you feel wonderful with you know, like you were just describing them, that massive insight and this pure love, that is a great way. Just there are no words, let's be honest, for how powerful that feeling is. And like you said, it's not of this world. I agree with that 100%. Um, but yeah, it's with me, it was like after that happened, a thought came in my head over a situation, and it wasn't the way I would normally react to a thought. I especially a circumstance outside of me was going on, and I would have reacted like a lunatic. But instead, I so calmly heard this little thought, and I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Because that's not me. That's not how I. That is not how I go about this. I should be, screaming, yelling, crying, playing victim. Oh my! Again, why me? Why me? Anything, but not like, okay, whatever. That was the strangest thing for me to begin with, was getting used to the not no reaction, a very calm and just, this is what, yep, all right, and there we go. And that took me a minute to just be like, for real? Like, why did what? Because there was no restraint on my end. There was no like, ooh, I'm just going to sit here and count to 10 and, count to 10 and so I don't react. No, it was just an instant no reaction. It was just, okay, whatever. And that did take getting used to. I really was like, what is going on here? But yeah, I don't know if that made sense, but I know that made
Yes.
sense in my head right after my first insight. I was like, who the fuck is this?
And it's crazy because it's like all the reactivity that I used to have over everything was just not there anymore,
Yeah.
you know? Instead of freaking out, my it was my instant reaction was take a step back and it's like, okay, we'll know what to do when the time comes to do it. And having that trust. Because I don't know about you guys, but I learned to not trust myself after a while. Trust in myself got me in some pretty stupid situations and ended me up in federal prison. I wasn't the one to go to. And so learning that trust was baby steps, but I opened myself up to it. And I haven't really let myself down yet.
I love that. And if we think back, we've never really let ourselves down. We did the best we could with the awareness that we had at the time.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that I've learned about myself. And the one thing I've not even forgiven, because there's nothing to forgive, but let myself off the
Accepted.
hook for, you know? I did
Mhm.
the best that I could at the time. My parents did the best they could growing up. Strangers do the best they can. Everyone's doing the best that they can with what they know. And I think the great thing about the three principles is it points you back to that self-trust. I got distracted because Crystal's just popped off.
Mhm.
Where's she gone?
She's back.
There she is.
I don't know what's going on with this thing. Yeah, so I missed whatever you just said there at the end, but it's all good.
Yeah, I can't even remember what I was saying. Just that basically the three principles points you back to
Yeah.
yourself, and that's like any of these kind of like enlightenment, like Eckhart Tolle and Alan Watts and Buddhism and stuff like that. They all are telling you the secret to life. Look within. There's a reason they keep saying look within.
Yeah.
I had a weird experience the other day. Um, I was trying to be present. Where was I? I think I was walking the dog and I was just looking at my surroundings and I was looking at the space. And all of a sudden I felt really weird, like the space felt like it had um like a quality to it. Like I could always feel like I was playing with space, like it had a thickness. I don't know if I can explain that well, but it's like I saw space for the first time as something other than just empty space. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There's no words that I can say that will explain exactly how it felt, but I saw it.
A heaviness, a thick, like I don't know, seeing it, but feeling more in a space, feeling you
Well,
maybe.
when you see a tree and you see the lake and you see the grass. I
Mhm.
saw the space the same
Okay.
way.
Now I
It's
get
really
what you're
weird.
saying. Absolutely.
Mm. I don't know what that means, or it was just really beautiful. and I felt like I was walking into it, and, like, when you go onto the grass in bare feet and you're just feeling the grass, I was feeling the space. Yeah, that was weird. Thought I'd share it.
Eckhart Tolle talks about that. He talks about, you know, the space is the same thing as something, because without the space, there wouldn't be anything in it.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I saw what he was talking
And
about.
I'm not even sure where we started off.
I don't
Who
remember.
cares? It's the past, right?
That's true. It's over with.
I think we're pretty on topic. I think we started out with the trusting yourself, keeping yourself in a comfortable position and trusting yourself to open up and to what else is out there.
Yeah, and not getting attached, I think, is the biggest thing, because it's so easy to open yourself up, see something, and then attach yourself to that.
Yes.
So what do you mean by attached? Like attached to an identity, attached to an idea, attached to outcome? All of the
All of them,
above?
all of the above,
I was just curious.
you know? Like, when I was my debts, I sat there, an idea came, I followed it, and then I get attached to the idea.
Mm,
I think we spoke about this on one of the other ones, but, and then I got persuaded to slow down, and keep the doors open. So just because you've opened one door doesn't mean close all the other doors. All of them open. And that can be in relationships, love, work, health, all of it. Be constantly open for ideas.
yeah, it's like leaving the space for wisdom to flow, not closing the door and saying, "Yeah, you know what? I think I'm done with this one," or "Oh, I've got this one insight, and I don't want another one, so I'm just going to shut the rest of these doors." Yeah, absolutely. Living that.
I get it quite often.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I get it quite often where I'll have an insight and then I'll do a post or something, or I'll have a conversation with someone, and then I'll get another insight down the road and it completely contradicts the thing that I just said. And before that would really bothered me, like, "Oh, I can't say that now because then I'm look like a hypocrite or I'm contradicting myself." But we're always learning something new, always growing, and I think being okay with contradicting yourself because you've seen something new, you've seen something else. That's the whole identity changing all the time. Like, someone made a comment on something, and I said, "To be fair, I could be having a conversation with someone, one sentence, get an insight mid-sentence, and then the sentence will go in a different direction from that one insight." And I think being okay with that, being okay with the flow of where the river's going, instead of like, "Oh, no, I can't say that now because then I'll sound silly." I think that was an example of, like, letting go and just allowing, going with the
Well,
flow.
and you said something in there that I think is really important about identity. Identity is fluid. Okay, we think that our identity is one thing and that it's solid and that's just who we are. But that's ego. Who we actually are is fluid. It's constantly changing. It's constant. We adapt. And the more open we are and the more aware we become exactly who we need to be for whatever situation we're in. Not because we're faking, but because we adapt and we move and we grow and we learn and it's constantly growing.
There's always more to see.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about this is there is no finish line. of insight. You're always going to see more.
Yeah, as long as you look in the direction, there's no end. And I think that's what keeps us coming back to the 3 principles. That's what keeps us going to our teacher's calls even though we've completed it. That's what keeps us doing these, because by staying in the conversation, it's crazy, but the conversation and looking in that direction opens up everything else in your life, all avenues. And that's another thing I love about the principles. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've been through, what you're going through, where you're at. None of it matters. You're a human being. You think, you're aware, and you're alive. So these principles apply to you.
I notice myself, like, when I don't stay in the conversation, when I go quiet, when I don't turn up to the calls, when I forget to talk about this, it's so much easier to forget, so much easier to fall back into this thought storm, even though I'll still wake myself up. But when I stay in the conversation, it happens so much quicker because I'm in the conversation all the time.
Well, like at this point, I don't know. I don't know anymore if I really have conversations that don't have this in them somewhere.
Talk more on that.
Like, okay, like at work with my clients. I don't go in there teaching them about the principles. We have a conversation and I listen for how the principles show up. And so it's like every conversation I have with someone, I listen for how they're at play with this person, for how their thinking takes them, in what directions, for how much awareness they have that it is thinking. I listen for their wisdom coming out, because when you really talk with someone, if you listen, they give you their answers, but they can't hear it coming out of their own mouth. And so it's like every conversation I go into, I'm listening for, you know, where their thoughts are taking them. I'm listening for where their wisdom is showing up. I'm listening for how aware of all of it they are. Because some people can be really, really aware in this spot and completely blind to all of this over here. And even when I talk to my husband or my kids or my mom, now it's just I listen for the misunderstanding that they're caught in. And then I turn the conversation into kind of pointing back to that to try to help them see it.
I made a post about somewhat along those lines the other day. No, our wisdom, and how before we've seen for ourselves, but before we've had a glimpse, before the light switch comes back on, before, we literally tell ourselves so many things. It fascinates me. If I sit here and think about, years past and common phrases that I would use or that people would say to me, slow down. It was just a thought. Not in a way of like, oh, hey, don't get involved with your thinking, but you have an idea and you share it with a group of friends or whatever, and they give you a weird look and you're like, well, it was just a thought. Literally it was, but we don't, until we uncover, tap back in, whatever you want to say, to our innate well-being, to the wisdom that is always flowing inside of us, we literally don't catch it. We really don't. we'll spend our whole lives. I did. Okay. I spent a lot of my years of my life saying all kinds of things and hearing all kinds of things of just be yourself. That's another one. Just so many of them that it's crazy to me. If I would have, no going back, past is gone. But it's fascinating to me that if I would have just for a moment actually listened, not intellectually, but listened, who knows when I would have caught on to this understanding, because that's the beautiful thing too. There's such a misconception when we talk about wisdom. People think wisdom comes with age. You're born with it. You're born with it. We literally spew it all the time, but we don't recognize it because we haven't seen it for ourselves yet. And so back kind of to the whole insights and why are they important? But right there, that's why they're important. Is that glimpse of, oh, this is true. Oh, this is real. Oh, just opens up, like we've said, a whole new way of experiencing life that is just so beautiful and so lovely, even on shitty days, shitty moments. I don't really, I'm not going to go with a shitty day, but still, I mean, life is amazing and wonderful. And yeah, so
I love what you said about wisdom and it not being age, because I literally had this conversation with an older man recently. He was like 79, nearly 80, and he was saying, you've got so much wisdom for someone so young. I was like, wisdom doesn't come from age. He's like, yeah, but you've got to go through all these experiences to get the wisdom. I was like, yeah, that's a type of wisdom. But a 4-year-old can have more wisdom than an 80-year-old if they see, if they are connected. The wisdom that we talk about, it comes from, I'm going to say it, God, source, universe.
absolutely.
Albert Einstein used to say that he got his ideas. There's so many people that are great that have said where they've got their ideas from. It wasn't me. It was something else. You see athletes when they're in that flow state. That's connection. That's being connected to what I call the internet. And you get the amount of things, the ideas, like that story I did, the man on the rooftop. That wasn't me. That came through me. I was like, oh, I've got to write that down. And the more open we are to that, the more that can come through to us, and the more that it can help us in our lives. Because like our desires are guiding us towards where we're supposed to be going. That's why they're there. When they feel good. And like lately I've been feeling jealous of people. I'm like, oh, that's because I'm hiding still. I'm not doing what that little voice is telling me to do. So yeah, I don't know where else I'm going with that, but just open up, allow that connection. And the more you trust it, the more you let it in, the more it will give you.
Well, and not just you, everybody around you, because the thing is, finding someone who's present isn't that common. Everybody's go, go, go. And when you encounter someone who is present in the moment, non judgmental, and just allows you to be whatever the hell you are, wherever the hell you're at, you know, it that presence alone helps people calm down. It helps their nervous system start to relax. And it's amazing the impact you can have on someone and never have to say a word.
Yeah. Like yesterday when we went on our hike, we'd just done like 11 miles or something, and this runner goes past me, and I instantly know he's in that flow state. I instantly know that he is present, and because I could feel it. I said, Dave, like, he's in that flow state. And it just made me feel happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool to be able to just pick up on those things because you're present and being in that presence and just being. You pick up on the people who are in the flow state. You pick up on the people who are like really caught up in thinking. You pick up on so much stuff without even words.
Hmm.
No words needed because we feel, and it's that connectivity too. We all are connected.
Yes.
And when you're quiet enough and present enough and in the moment, awareness, whatever word you want to throw around it, it's really easy to, like the runner, knowing he's in his flow state and just living his best life or her, I don't, in the moment. And then when someone is being weighed down by their thinking and feeling like they're drowning, they don't have to say a word. And I'm not saying it's coming from the look on their face either, because sometimes we can have a look on our face that means absolutely nothing. Well, it doesn't mean anything until we put context to it with our own thinking anyway. So, yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
It's like a little fun superpower.
Right. The power of presence can be an anchor to somebody drowning,
Hmm.
and I think that one's been hard for me because I've always been a fixer. Let me fix your problems. Let me help. Let me make this better. And I'm really having to learn to not just jump in and try to fix things for people, but that just by being present and knowing that they already have the answers, it gives me the right questions to ask, the right curiosity of how to get them to see that they don't need me. They can rely on their own wisdom. You know, that's hard to teach someone, but you can't do it when you're trying to fix someone. You be present. And that's giving them more than fixing their problem ever would.
Yeah, because when we try to fix someone, we're confirming that they're broken.
Yeah.
We're confirming the very thing that we're trying to help them with. And we do that to ourselves as well.
Yes.
We don't realize that the very act of trying to fix yourself is actually feeding the very thing we're trying to get away from. I was going to do a post today about how I spent 8 years trying to heal, trying to fix myself, only to be humbled by the fact that I didn't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off.
It's yeah. It's funny because I had a little aha about that. I don't even know, like a few months ago, and it's exactly this sentence and exactly what you're pointing to there. We are quietly reinforcing our own problem with going on the different types of healing journeys that people go on, and with the our self-talk that, like positive affirmations. Sorry for anybody who loves them. Nothing good for that, whatever. Um, but it's a quiet reinforcement of saying, yep, I don't like who I am. Yep, there's something wrong with me. Yep, I'm different from everybody else. Yep. And so even though it's trying, people are trying to heal or fix themselves, it's like they're on a merry-go-round. They're just going to keep going round and round and round and round because it's that quiet reinforcement of, yep, I got to keep doing this so that I'm not this anymore. So every time you do this, then yeah, you're confirming I am this. When you're none of it, let it go. Just let it go. I know. I get to that point of just let it go. But it's possible to do. And I tell that to people and I tell it to clients and I tell it to anybody. And it doesn't always come off like we're not that excited to hear it, but it's the truth. You can let it go anytime you want to. You want to keep it, go ahead. That's yours. That's your choice. That is your free will. If you want to keep it, go ahead. I don't. I dumped all that crap. I don't want it.
Well, and see, I talk to people and I tell them, it's still yours, but instead of being in it, step back and watch it, learn it, see how it shows up, see what direction it takes you, see how it's trying to pull you in to the cage so it can bite you. Because when we engage with the content of all of our crap, it's we're sticking our arm in the lion's den. Here, kitty, kitty. But when we take the observer view, when we can step out of the content, we can safely watch from this side of the enclosure and understand what it's doing and how it works and why it shows up
I love
without,
that.
you know. So
I
yeah,
love that. Sorry. I
no,
love that metaphor. The kitty and uh, I just saw it, and the thing is, we get so tempted to go up and go, "Come here, kitty, kitty, I want to stroke you."
yeah,
I'll just go into it a little bit. I'll just open the door of that content, and
yeah.
I'll just stroke it on its head. No.
Or
Yes.
I'll stick my fingers through the bars through the
Yeah,
cage, just a little,
and
just right on the little nose there. It's okay. It's not going to hurt anybody. Don't bite your
yeah,
finger
and
off.
yeah, and that lion purrs at you, and it's like looks so cute and innocent. It's like, no, it's not.
No.
It's a man-eaten bloody lion that wants to eat you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that metaphor.
But so I try to get my clients to see, like, you can keep those, but you don't have to put yourself in it. Watch them, learn them. I feel like if I can get people to step back into the observer position, even for a moment, even if it's happened mostly when they were in it. And then they think, wait, I can look at this and I don't have to. And they'll take that step back. And as soon as they see thought in the moment and how that's creating the intense feelings, that's when it starts to change. That's when they start to watch the enclosure instead of trying to climb in it.
I will say something though, and correct me if I'm not seeing it right. The one thing I noticed about myself though is it's very easy to become the observer and then not be present in the sense that you can avoid the feelings. So what I found with myself was I was constantly watching from the outside and wasn't actually feeling anything. So the emotion wasn't like, I know if you could see from an insight, it would just disappear in an instant, but like those emotions were building up because I was doing it from a distraction point of view. So it's very subtle. The ego can be very subtle and think that, oh, I'm just observing. No, I was avoiding.
I love that.
Yes, because that's a big thing. There's a difference between avoiding and observing.
And your brain will tell you, I'm being spiritual and I'm observing. But if you got real with yourself, you'd know. And I always did know. I knew that, if I sat down for a few minutes and just shut up and just, what am I doing? I'm avoiding.
Right.
But it can be easy when in the start to not realize you're avoiding and thinking that you're doing the observing.
Yes. But eventually, even the avoiding would lead to an observing, or no? Because when you step back, you kind of get that little bit of space. As long as you keep looking, it'll start to tell you, oh no, you're avoiding right now. You're not watching it and learning it. You're not watching it change and seeing thought in the moment work. You're avoiding that content and playing hide and seek.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying there, but I think the biggest point to that whole thing and to what both of you were saying is presence
Yes.
and a quiet mind. Because yeah, you can hear it all you want. You're avoiding, you're avoiding, you're avoiding. But whether it's coming from here or if it's coming from here, a place of quiet or this busy bullshit. When it comes from here, yes, I agree. Then absolutely. You're aware that you're avoiding. When it's coming from here and we're just hearing it over and over again, you're like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yep. Cool. Again, reinforcing then the avoidance unintentionally.
Hmm.
Yeah. The space we're coming from, the space we're in,
Yes.
just
The feeling.
wonderful. Like just, yeah, the feeling, the space, whatever words you want to put on it. They're just, yeah, we know. But I don't know. I just thought about then Melissa just being in the space, as you said at the beginning of the podcast, and really feeling like the space. Like, and I know you weren't talking about, I believe you were talking about outside an empty space. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. That's the best sentence I can ever say all the time. I don't know.
Hmm.
Anybody?
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, please share this. Please, we would like to get so many more followers, obviously. And anyone that can help us do that, sharing it with people, subscribing, like, that's amazing. We want to spread this energy out to the world. We want to show people the freedom that they have, that's available to them, the wisdom, the love that is available to every single human on this planet. It only takes one insight to change your life.
Yeah. You're one thought away.
And that
Yeah.
thought is no thought.
And then once you see, there's no end to what's possible to see. That's exciting.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Love you all.